I worked for a Japanese pharmaceutical company. That Japanese pharmaceutical company had developed a product called green magma and barley grain. Anybody ever heard of that? Well, I took them from a $700,000 company to like a $25 million company because I was so powerfully enthusiastic about giving people green juice powder when before they had to grow wheatgrass and get a grinder and make it fresh and people wouldn't do it. And Dr. Hagiwara from Japan told me he had created a pharmaceutical method of converting green juice to powder, and it was pure, and it was organic, and it was raw, and I was all in. And then I was requesting information. Could you please give me studies? And they kept sending me studies on fresh barley grass juice and not the dry one. And I said, no, I need the studies on the dry one. And they said, well, the dry one's just like the fresh one. And so what they didn't know is I had already made my money in life. I was working for them because I wanted to find my home. Okay? And so I sent the product out to various labs. I spent like $5,000 of my own money testing the product in the company I worked for because I had lost trust in them. And there was a good reason I had lost trust. It turned out that Dr. Hagiwara and his Japan Pharmaceutical Development Corporation, selling green magma and barley grain, was putting 40% maltodextrin in the product and not telling anybody, and maltodextrin is practically sugar. Okay, 40%. Imagine if you discovered that your power shake was 40% sugar and I never told you. That's not right. And I was angry, but not as angry as when I found out it had pesticide residues when he said it was organic. And then I found out there was not one trace of a living enzyme when he said it was wrong. And I quit. And they said, please don't quit. They flew me to Hawaii where I met him. He came in from Japan. It's about halfway. And he said, David, you don't understand. Maltodextrin is my trade secret. The only way to try green juice into a powder to make it convenient for people and to heal people is to have this stabilizer in it. And I said, oh. So then I'm at the Anaheim trade show. Anaheim, we do these health food trade shows, Boston and then LA. So I'm here in Anaheim, right in the street over there, and I'm talking to Charlie Fox, and Charlie Fox, the guy who brought odorless Kyolic garlic to America from Japan. He's an awesome dude. Remember Charlie Fox? Amazing guy. Gypsy Boots was famous in Southern California. If you knew Gypsy Boots, my man. Boots! So, anyway, so Charlie Fox tells me, Dave, I heard that you're spending all this money trying to prove that you could try juice without a binder, and you're not having any success. I harvested kamut in Montana and drove it to Minnesota in a truck with ice thrown over the grass so I could try all these experiments, and none of it worked in this place that said that they were the best dryer of food on the planet. And he says, you know, I know this guy living up in the mountains in Utah. He went to them trying to prove that he had the best way to dry food, that if they wanted to dry food and store it for 2 years, that he found a way to dehydrate food without using any heat and without using any binders. And I said, it's not possible. I've been working for a year and a half to do this with the greatest technologists on the planet. It's not possible. The best I've been able to do is get it down to a 15% carrier instead of 40%. Like the Japan Pharmaceutical Company was doing. He says, I swear to you, it's pure. I said, get him on the phone. I get this guy on the phone and he talks like Elmer Fudd. He's got, and he knows nothing about science. And he tells me that what he did was he dug a big hole in the sandstone, a 200-foot tall hole, and then he put a sprayer at the top, and as the juice fell down through there, the hot wind in the desert would come up and rise up through the hole, and by the time the juice fell to the bottom, it was a powder. And I said, how's that possible? And he said, watch this. And he put on a cassette tape of waves crashing on rocks, and they showed the spray go up in the air, and these super slow motion cameras showed that salt spray evaporate evaporate and salt fall back to the earth. Mist would go up and salt would fall down. And the temperature of the ocean was only like 60, 70 degrees. And he says, when I saw that video, I knew that I could evaporate food without a binder. But I needed to recreate that, and that's what he did in the sandstone with the sprayers. So Amy and I gave him $500,000 to build a machine that would do what the sandstone did. And then we found this amazing land that had 1,000 acres of soil that was 90 feet deep with topsoil because it had been a lake for thousands of years and it just dried up less than 100 years ago. And all this accumulated amazing stuff where the lake was in there. And we began to cultivate that. So I went back to Dr. Hagawara, who I was still working for, by the way, while I was doing all this. And I said, I've got the answer. We've got something better than barley. I've got this glute. We've got this process. I'm telling the story sort of backwards, and he fired me. He said, how dare you think that you could do my job? You're a used car salesman. Get out of here. Well, guess what? This used car salesman? This used car salesman had a little bit of bank, and me and Amy invested in that land. We invested in that technology. We brought the world's first 100% pure, certified organic, without any binder, filler, or excipient, low temperature dehydrated food for the very first time into this world. Woo! Okay? You will not find a pesticide residue in anything that we make. And so the process where this company started was Amy and I investing in a dream that we could change the world. That everybody drinking dry green juice had to take sugar with it, had to take chemicals with it, and it was not alive. And we changed that. And we built this company on that single promise that we would not adulterate your food, and we would deliver you the purest food, that we would reach back into cultures, into ancient history, and we bring forward the knowledge that had been lost. And Kamut is a beautiful example of that. Okay?